refresher, what our testing is looking at. Hi, Gina.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, good to see you again. I'm going to mute myself in the background, guys.
Okay.
Good. We were just starting to jump in.
Perfect.
All right. So, refresher, in all the cells of our body, we have DNA, which is a big book of instructions, contains instructions to form us in the womb and everything else our body needs. Certain pieces of that are genes, which do something specific for us and have their own spelling. So what we do with genetic testing is we're truly going letter by letter to look for changes. We call them like variants or mutations in that letter code that cause that gene to work differently, because that's how you can get a genetic condition. So what we were doing for Adriana was we were looking at a bunch of genes that we know can cause seizures or epilepsy to see if we could find an answer for hers. And if that could tell us anything else about her.
Okay.
Whenever we do genetic testing, there are 3 types of results that we can get. The first is our positive or pathogenic. That means we found a change in a gene, we've seen it before in other people, so we know it can cause a condition.
Okay.
Second is negative or normal. There are genetic changes that don't cause any problems, that are kind of just part of like normal human variation. And then in between the two of those is uncertain. That means we found a new genetic change that we haven't seen before in many other people. So we don't know 100% if it could be associated with a condition or if it's kind of just normal,
Okay.
which is not uncommon to get on genetic testing. All of our DNA can be a little bit different, and we're still kind of learning what is normal, what is, associated with disease.
Okay.
Question so far?
No.
Okay, sounds good. So I put just a little bit a screenshot of her results up here, and we'll kind of walk through each of these. But just kind of to orient you, a lot of this information is kind of for us, especially the stuff on the report. But on the left side over here, it's the name of the gene. Right here where it says like DNA variants, that's like the actual letter, like what is changed, where is it changed, and then on the end is their interpretation. Overall, we don't think any of these are a good, answer for her seizure. She's not a great fit for any of them for different reasons. So we don't think these are diagnostic. That's kind of like the overall summary, but I can walk you through each piece and why. So this first one, it does say likely pathogenic. This gene can be associated with a condition that can cause differences in development. So like intellectual disability, developmental delay, and some of those kiddos can have seizures. So we know she has no concerns with her development. So I'm talking to Gina. So she's not a great fit there. And the type of gene change that she has typically has to be seen with a second gene change or a second mutation on the other copy of this gene in order to cause a condition.
Okay.
So when you just have one of these, of this like particular gene change, it can cause what we call like recessive retinitis pigmentosa. So the recessive piece is kind of what I was mentioning earlier. We all have 2 copies of every gene in our bodies. We typically get one from mom and one from dad. If we have a recessive condition, both copies have to have that change in them in order to have the condition. So we know that she's got one copy that isn't doing its job right, but we assume the other one is working totally fine. This would make her like a carrier for that retinitis pigmentosa. And what that is essentially like night blindness or kind of progressive like vision loss on the periphery.
Okay.
So what that means, we wouldn't expect it to, cause any vision problems for her. But the thing is, when you and your partner are carriers for the same thing, then your child could possibly inherit both of those gene changes that aren't working right, and your child could have kind of that vision disorder. That was a lot of information. Question?
No.
Okay, all right. So essentially the summary is, even though it says likely pathogenic, it doesn't give her like a diagnosis or anything.
Okay.
It's more of a reproductive kind of, we call like carrier status.
Okay.
All right. And these last 2 conditions, these are the ones that are uncertain, meaning we haven't seen the same gene change before in many other people. These are associated with conditions that typically also have the developmental delay or intellectual disability. With this one particularly, almost all patients have intellectual disability or like global developmental delay, so not a great fit for her there. And the second one typically has what we call like a movement disorder. So these kiddos can have seizures, but they also have like uncontrolled involuntary movements, or like really specific differences with their gait, stuff that like neurology would have seen and would have picked up on her. So she's not a great fit for either of those. Yeah, those are kind of the gists for those. Questions about that?
No.
Okay. One thing, this last gene change, it's this pretty new information emerging, but wondering if it might contribute to an increased risk for Parkinson's disease.
Mhm.
We don't totally know, and they're still learning a little bit about it, but it is something kind of to keep in the back of our minds. I'm not saying right now, right, that she's going to develop Parkinson's disease or anything, but
Right.
this might be something that kind of increases that risk. Parkinson's is something where it can be lots of different factors kind of coming in together that can give someone that. And this might be one of them, but it also might not be. You might learn more in the future as far as that gene.
Okay.
Any questions about any of that?
No.
Okay. So one thing that we do with these uncertain gene changes, first is what we already talked about, which is we look to see if they're a good fit for the child, which overall, not a great fit. And the second thing that we do is we sometimes test parents. Because if a parent has the same gene change as the child, but not the same symptoms, that kind of pushes us more to thinking, okay, that's probably more normal variation as opposed to the disease-causing gene change.
Mhm.
The CIC, this one is offered for free to test parents. So if you guys are interested, we thought maybe we'd start with that one.
Okay.
This last one, the NUS one, is not offered for free. We'd have to go through insurance for it, but that's something we could possibly do later.
Okay.
So our kind of tentative thought would be, if you're interested, just because the CIC is free, we could possibly ask you and Dad
Okay.
just to learn a little bit more about it.
Sure.
Okay. Questions at all about any of it?
No. Not
Okay.
that I can think of.
Good. Sometimes in genetics, we kind of have to dig a little bit at these kind of new findings or new things like that. So it can be confusing sometimes. All right. Gina, do you have anything to add on these?
I don't. So it really doesn't change management at this point in time. So we'll take this kind of a stepwise approach, and we'll look at that. We'll look at to see if we'll look at parentals, it's called, to see if you guys have that gene change. It can help us kind of interpret it a little bit too. So
Okay.
kind of see if you guys have that, and we'll take it a stepwise approach. We'll probably, I don't know if we'll need to set up another like video visit for this, or just maybe call it out and kind of see how things are going. Brooke and I, or Joy and I, will make a plan after we get parentals back. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Questions about that? This is kind of, it's not straightforward.
No.
Okay.
No, okay.
And then as far as the process for parental testing, we just send like a cheek swab kit to your house.
Okay.
And it comes with like a FedEx bag and everything to send it back. Let me just verify that I've got the right address. 3478 Stellar Drive.
Yep. That's it.
And okay to do both you and Dad?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. All that we can do, and then we can kind of just touch base again once we get those back. It's usually about 6 weeks to get those results, and then we'll put another report in her chart.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything else right now. If you after this, if you think of any questions, based on what we talked about, please reach out.
Okay.
I was happy to answer them.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day. Stay dry.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.